friends. Hello, hi, how are you? I'm doing... I could not think of a descriptive word to save my life, to be perfectly honest. I have no idea how I'm doing. I think okay though. Like everything seems to be checking out fine, so we're doing good. Hi, so today I wanted to do something a little bit more. First of all, it has been raining for like 4 days where I live, so I'm feeling real cozy, and I just wanted to like lay in my new bed and not do anything today, but I have to film like 3 videos. So that's what we're doing. I decided to do something a little bit fun. So a little while back, I think it was a month or 2 ago, I did a video where I talked about my favorite shades in most of my eyeshadow palettes. So now I thought it could be kind of fun to go through and show you guys my least favorite shades in the eyeshadow palettes. I'll have that video linked down below so you guys can go watch it, but if I had to make some predictions, my favorite eyeshadows seemed to be very like light, pinky, purpley, neutrals, not too crazy. I'm very basic with eyeshadow. I like to play with color and I enjoy the colorful eyeshadows I have because they're just, I don't know, they're fun. So I enjoy playing with the colorful eyeshadows I have. I truly do. But I just kind of felt like this is gonna be like the dark shades, the green shades. I anticipate a lot of greens. So I'm just gonna look through. I have this like shower caddy full of palettes and my Jaclyn Hill palettes right here because that's what I used in my eyes today. And I just wanted to go through and give you guys some of my least favorite shades. I feel like this is going to be interesting just to kind of see like what shades do you hate. I think it's kind of cool because you can go through and be like, what do I actually like? Because I feel like I buy a lot of palettes sometimes and I buy them because I think they're beautiful, because they are, but then I look at them and I'm like, realistically on a day-to-day basis, what am I wearing? Because it's not this. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and we're going to be swatching them all on my arm. And yeah, if you guys like this video, I'm questioning my hair decisions today, but like we're already here, so guess we're just sticking to it. Here we go. So let's just start with my crusty Jaclyn Hill palette. Let me know down below how you guys feel about the James Charles palette that he just announced. I'm interested, and if you guys want me to get it to review it, I definitely will, because I'm interested enough that I'm like, I would use this enough to get it. But let me know down below. This is the Jaclyn Hill palette. This is like what started it all. Mine is really ratchet. This is what she looks like. Okay. You guys are gonna literally kill me because it's like the only interesting shade in the palette, but I really dislike this like turquoise green color. I wore it once in my eyes because I'm gonna need a makeup wipe. I was following a Thomas Halbert makeup tutorial and he used this. It was like a Christmas makeup tutorial. So I have worn it once on my eyes and it just looks terrible. Green is not my color for eyeshadow. Like it does not look good on me. I am so about this palette. Like I love the neutrals. I love all of the boring shades. I love them. This green is just so not interesting to me. Doesn't look good. I do love these like purpley shades, and I even don't mind this shimmery green because I think you could do a really cute moment in the outer corner. I haven't done it, but you could do like a really cute like outer corner pop of color with this particular shade. But this matte green just does not do it for me, so that's out. All right, next we have the Juvia's Place. This is the Magic palette. This is probably my favorite Juvia's Place palette, honestly. So this one was like a little bit hard to think about what would be my least favorite shade, and there are a couple in here that I don't love, but this is my favorite palette because I feel like this is like, it's same thing with the Masquerade mini I have. You have these top shades that are like a whole different color palette, and then down here, so you can either do a really pinky light look, a really dark smoky blue green look, or you can do like both, like you can mix it, and I think that's kind of cool. Weirdly enough, I think this shade Nubia, I've never used it, and I've used every other shade, so that's why I'm thinking it's this one. It is kind of like one of those greeny golds that I know a lot of people really like. And again, it's a beautiful shade. Like, Juvia's Place is beautiful, but this would just look terrible on me. Anything with green undertones, I guess it's more of a pure gold now that I'm looking at it, but that's what I mean. I have a gold in my, I'm going to insert a picture of the palette because I can't remember the name, but I have a gold in that palette that's like a true gold, but it's more pinky undertoned, and that looks really good. But this is just too greeny golds for me. These two look together, look really pretty though. Like those two shades next to each other are beautiful. Maybe this will be like a beautiful color palette. It's just not one I'd ever want. Next we have the BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette, and this one is again beautiful. And also very affordable, which I really like. This is such a pretty one. And weirdly enough, it's this like metallic blue down here. I actually don't hate the turquoise in this palette. I think because just of the way the palette is laid out, it makes sense to me to have that. With the Jaclyn Hill palette, it feels really out of place. But this blue, I just don't like. I don't think it's good. It also stained my eyes the one time I wore it. Yeah, this is a beautiful color palette I'm putting together. Like, these are stunning. They're pigmented, they're nice shades, but that blue is just not it for me. Oh my god, scandal, I'm double swatching. So this is what that looks like. And you know, it's okay. Blues and greens, not my thing. This is a palette from an indie brand called Delancey. I'm gonna have a tutorial Tuesday up on this in a few weeks, I think, because I bought it a while ago to review. It's the Maelstrom palette, I think. When I did my BetterHelp video, this is what was on my eyes. A lot of you guys were asking for a tutorial because that look came out stunning. This is a great palette. I would highly recommend checking it out. But my least favorite shade in this is this shade Galaxia. Normally I really like duochromes, and this is like a blue purple. Like, it's not even that bad, but it's too, it swatches way too pink. In the pan, it looks like it's gonna be like a blue shift, which is kind of goes with the palette a little bit better, I think, to have something a little bit more blue toned, but it's just pink. Like, you kind of lose the duochrome once you actually put it on your eye. So it's not that I don't think the pink is pretty, because I do. I just think it's deceiving. Like, I just think it's like, you don't actually get the color you think you're getting at all. It's really just like a pinky shade, but they mask it as this duochrome. So I'm not in love with that shade. Okay, next is the Violet Voss The Rainbow palette. So this is a really cool palette. I didn't know when I bought it, it was all shimmers. I still don't hate it though, but I do hate, what is this, Eclipse Original. They have a freaking shimmery black. Anytime there's a shimmery black, I hate it. It's my least favorite thing. I don't understand the point of shimmery blacks. I don't think they look particularly good. Yeah, like, that's just dumb. This just looks really stupid. Oh god. And it made a mess too, because blacks always make a mess. What's the point? What is the point? The whole point of a black is to like deepen up a crease. So I don't want that like shimmery galactic black in my crease because it looks stupid. That's actually not entirely fair because I feel like some people could totally rock like a shimmery black. I am just not one of those people. Again though, this is a pretty palette in itself. Like, this is kind of cool. It was really hard to think about this one. This one took a lot of like thought, but I have to go, and it's not even because I don't love it, it just practically I don't use it. I don't typically put really dark shimmers on my eyes, so I had to go with the shade Dethrone because it's the one I use the least. It's not that I don't like this shade, it's just as pigmented, creamy, and beautiful as all of the other shades. But the point of a shimmer for me and what I typically use it for, not to say that I'd never use a dark shimmer on my eye, because I definitely will sometimes, but it's just not my favorite. And out of all of the metallics in that colored rain palette, this one is the least metallic looking. I know that probably doesn't look good at camera, but the way that the others swatch and the way that the others apply on the eye is so beautiful that this one is a little bit more lackluster, if that makes sense. Yeah, I hate every color in this palette because I actually think this palette sucks regardless of how you feel about Laura Lee. I did get some BoxyCharm, I didn't buy it. But my least favorite shade is this little guy hung over this dark purple friend. She's just bad. Yeah, you guys can see how chunky and patchy that is. I'm gonna like build it up to give it some justice. It just is like patchy. That's the best way to describe it. Yeah, this is not a great shade. It's just the quality is bad. Some of these like shades, like I think her matte colors, she did okay on pigmentation wise. Like, they were pigmented and they were relatively easy to blend. But when you went in with these two shimmer shades, this one was okay, but this one was just a mess. Like, it looked so bad. The formula of that is not great. Okay, Huda Beauty. So we have both of the Huda Beauty palettes. I guess there's three now. I have Desert Dusk and the Rose Gold. As far as this one goes, it's actually the shade Cosmo. I just don't love glitters in a pan. Like, first of all, it's gonna take me like 10 years to build up a swatch that you guys can see. It's so freaking messy, like ridiculously messy. Oh my god, it's so messy. I just don't like that in palettes. I wish they would stop putting pressed glitters in palettes because I don't think they work. I don't think they do well. I don't think they look good. I think they're messy and annoying to use. So that's why that's my least favorite in this palette, which is otherwise a really beautiful palette, but that red is just awful. And then as far as this palette goes, it's actually the shade Dubai, which is right up here. I think 24 karat is really beautiful because it's a gold. It is that kind of greeny gold, but it's got the textured shadow, which is kind of cool to me. But this shade Dubai is like a black, green, weird, I don't know how to describe it to you guys. Bizarre. It kind of looks like dog poo. Like, I'm not gonna, I hate this shade. I think it's so bad for me and again, I want to make it super clear. Like, if you guys love these shadows, I'm not like crapping. We just all have different styles and different personalities. Like, I like very basic. You are probably way more creative than I am if you like these colors. I'm just not the type of person that like loves stuff like this. This color to me though is just really gross. It's just a gross color. Green browns I think are just the weirdest thing. Like, I can even get behind like a blue brown. Like, what are the, I think it's like Max Blue Brown. I think it's like a duochrome. Those are really cool. Like, those are pretty, but like a green brown is just not my favorite. All right, now we have the ColourPop Good Sport palette. This is pretty new to my collection, so I'm kind of just like guessing because I haven't used too many of these colors yet. But I will say I do not think I'm ever going to use, but I can tell you for pretty much certainty right now, I don't think I'm ever going to use this matte army green shade of Trophy. It's just not my jam. Yeah, and it's almost like a gray green. I just don't really get the point of this. Maybe, oh, this is actually not a very good shade. It's not swatching great. I don't really understand the point of this type of gray green shade because I don't really get where it like fits in with everything. I don't know. I don't love this. This is definitely not my favorite shade. I think it doesn't really fit in this palette as well. I know they have these kind of goldy green shades that I'm like, oh, so about. I'm just curious to see how they'll look with the purples, to be quite honest. But when you throw in a shade like this that's like a gray green, I feel like they could have put in like a black even to be able to really deepen things up, and that would have been better. This just seems like it's not going to go with anything else in the palette. So I picked my two favorite Jaclyn Hill Vault Collection palettes because there was two I liked and two I didn't. This one is Dark Magic. Looks like this. My least favorite shadow in this is probably Trickery. It's this like dark green metallic shade. This is, oh, I'm gonna actually swatch on my other arm because I'm running out of room on this one. This is not even like a terrible shadow, but again, I just don't have a use for something this dark to put everywhere unless I'm like deepening up the outer portion of my lid maybe, or I'm trying to do like a very vampy look, but I do those so little. I actually quite like the green, blue, and dark green mattes that are in this palette, but this shimmer, first of all, is not even that shimmery. It's not really a shimmer, a metallic, or a duochrome. It's just kind of like a satin almost, which I don't love. I think if you're gonna have a dark shade like this, it needs to like pack a punch, if that makes sense. Yeah, this is not my favorite. The other palette I really liked was Bling Bloss. Bling Bloss. Okay. The other palette I really liked was Bling Boss. And man, I don't even know if I have a least favorite shade in here. I picked this one to like challenge myself. I guess Buried Treasure, of course, like the darkest shade. This kind of goes along with like, I would have preferred a dark matte purple in place of this because like when you have dark colors with shimmers, oh, like, yeah, I don't like this. This is a weird color. It's just weird. It's got a lot of reflex. It's a dark shade, but it's got a lot of reflex of like pinks, purples, and golds, but it's not really like good. Like, it's not like a duochrome or a multi-chrome shade. It's just got glitter chunks of different shades in there. This is just weird. I think it's very weird. I would have preferred a very like deep, almost like plum-like purple there. Kind of like Mystic, but like a lot darker. I think that would have been cool. Okay, so I have 4 Too Faced palettes I'm going to be pulling from. So this is the Too Faced Peanut Butter and Jelly palette, and my least favorite shade, shockingly, is very similar to my least favorite in the Jaclyn Hill palettes, which is Jammin'. It's just a really dark purple with random shimmers in it. I don't understand these dark shades that have just random shimmers in them. I don't get the point. Can somebody tell me the point and like explain to me dark shades with random glitter chunks that are lighter? Like, I don't understand. Just make it a matte. Like, why are you messing around? These little glitter chunks in here are not going to show up in an actual eye look. Like those are not going to be identifiable in an eye look like a duochrome or a multi-chrome would. So that's why I just think they're stupid. It's like, what's the point? In the peach palette, my least favorite shade would have to be Talk Derby to me, which is a literal, I didn't even plan this. It's a literal another dark shade with just glitter chunks in it. What is the point of you? We can't deepen anything. That purple shade right above it, Delectable, is great because you can use it to like deepen stuff. What am I deepening with this? It's a super dark shade with glitter. Why do brands do this? What is the point of this? What is the point of these shadows? There's 3 in a row right here that it's like they're just purple, but they didn't want to commit to making it dark, so they put all these glitters in it. I don't understand. Then we have the Chocolate Bar palette. And I actually think my least favorite shade in here is Gilded Ganache. It's just the one I use the least. I don't really get the point of throwing like a green in here because I think the whole point of the Too Faced palette, this like Chocolate Bar palette, is that it's it's also a bad shade. It's very chunky. I think the whole point of this Chocolate Bar palette is that it's supposed to be like an everyday neutral palette. So I don't really see the point in throwing in something like a weird greeny brown shade. It just doesn't seem to like fit the aesthetic of the palette. I actually would have preferred maybe another, like, you know how Creme Brulee is kind of like a dark gold, maybe like a lighter gold up there just to give another top coat, because I think you have your transition shades covered, you have your deepening shades covered. So to just throw this random green in here doesn't make sense to me, but I'm biased because I hate green. So, and then finally we have this new one to my collection. This is the Gingerbread Spice palette. This might surprise you guys, but I actually don't love the shade Warm and Toasty, which is weird because it's like a yellowy gold, which I usually really love. This is just almost too yellowy for this palette. I think this is like the first bright shade. It's like a pretty gold and it's fine, but it just doesn't seem to mesh with me with the palette. Like, I kind of almost wish they had done a more darker gold, kind of like what they did in the Jaclyn Hill palette. No, in the Good Sport, sorry. Kind of like what they did in the Good Sport palette, like this type of gold. I think that would have been more interesting than like a really warm gold. I just think it would have made the palette more interesting. It's not that I like hate this palette and I hate this color. It's not like the worst color of all time. It just doesn't fit super well in the palette for me. I don't know why. I don't know why I feel this way. I just do. Finally, I picked 4 out of my 5 Anastasia palettes. I didn't pick Soft Glam because I love every shade in Soft Glam. Like, I'm not even kidding. And this is probably going to be hard because I do love Anastasia palettes. I think I'd have to say my least, and this is really unpopular because I know people love this shade, but my least favorite shade in the Anastasia is Antique Bronze. I don't know, it would have to be that or Buon Fresco. I just never use them, first of all. And second of all, it just is like a weird color. It's pretty and it's like fine, but if I had to pick a shade in this palette that I use the least, it's Buon Fresco. It's not really dark enough. It's a good like transition shade, I guess, but it's not really dark enough to deepen anything, and it's like super similar to Buon Fresco. So it's like, if you put in Buon Fresco, why would you put in a slightly darker version of Antique Bronze? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's probably my least favorite out of this palette. I also just love Cypress Umber. It's so good. Okay. Prism palette. It's gotta be Sphere. That stupid neon green shade that they threw in just to be creative. I think this is such a dumb thing to throw in. It doesn't really serve much of a purpose. I think they could have done something really cool that isn't like a neon green. I think they could have had this palette still be interesting without it. I think they could have copped out and were like, well, if we throw this really interesting shade, it'll look even more interesting. It's interesting on its own without the neon green. Like, if you cover that up, this is still a cool and interesting palette. I don't think it was necessary, and I think it was kind of a gimmick that they threw it in there, so we're out on that. Next is Norvina. I gotta say, this is gonna surprise you guys again. I don't love the shade Wild Child in here, this pink shimmer. It's not that the shade itself is bad. I hate the formula. It is the epitome of a chunky glitter. It just doesn't mesh super well with everything. Like, it just doesn't, like, all of these other shimmer shades, I don't mind. They're not like amazing, but this one in particular, you can even see it just from like swatching it. It's just incredibly chunky. Like, I don't understand why it's like that. It's like maybe too pressed or not pressed enough or something. The shade itself I don't hate. I just hate the formula. Like, out of this whole palette, that's the formula I hate the most. Finally, we have Sultry, which has been my new love. This is going to be hard. I think it would have to be this gray color Slate. It's just because I don't really see the point of Slate. I get that I think it should have been a slightly darker gray. This gray is just a little too light and ashy for my taste. I think if they had done something just a teeny bit darker that you could have really used as like a dark transition shade, I think that would have been great. But for how... I know this is kind of more cool toned, but I also think a lot of the shimmers are incredibly warm toned with the exception of like Cyborg and Ember. This whole side of the palette and these two shades are pretty warm. Realistically, there's only like 4, maybe 5 if you count Twig cool tone shades. So I think they could have made this a little bit darker, had Twig be the transition, had this be the deepening transition, and then really smoke it out with the black, and I think that would have been totally fine. So these are my least favorite colors in my palettes. I feel like I did a really good job like predicting this one. I feel like you can really see what I don't like, and that's dark shades, dark shades with glitter in them, and green. That's basically it. Alright, you guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just like, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you for being here. If you liked this video, if you didn't, let me know. I love you guys so much. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!